You're listening to the Cantina Cast, your home for thought-provoking Star Wars talk. Join Albert and Jonesy in breaking down the latest news, trailers, movies, and of course, your favorite characters from a galaxy far, far away.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cantina Cast. My name is Albert Padilla, and this is the Waystation, your source for Star Wars news and rumors. Today is July 23rd, 2023, and unless you've been under a rock somewhere, just maybe don't keep up with cons. This week, we've come to the very end here of, I guess, San Diego Comic-Con, and it was a convention that, while was very light in terms of Star Wars movie television news, it was pretty heavy in the collector's arena. And by heavy, I mean my wallet took a huge hit. And we'll talk more about that here in just a little bit. But joining me tonight, as always, is Jonesy. Jonesy, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Actually, everything else besides Star Wars really made me want to go back to San Diego Comic-Con. Well, I'm going to go for the first time. I've never been, but I sat there watching some of the coverage today. Like Alex Ross had a giant booth. All these people had amazing booths. And like it was like about comics and stuff. I was like, I want to go. Like, I just want to go. Can I go, please?
Yeah, there's like
to go, please, Albert.
Yes, granted. You know, there's some things that like Comic-Con I feel like has, I wouldn't say deteriorated. What's a good word? Just atrophied.
It's evolved into
Okay,
into like a pop. It's more of like a pop culture thing rather than any individual, stunt that they do now.
Right, and we talked about this. It's the natural evolution of these bigger companies going and say we're going to do our own thing where we can have more control over what's happening and not have to share the limelight on some of these things. Kind of make it our own big event, and so we're seeing some of that in Comic-Cons, especially San Diego Comic-Con. But you're right, like there were some really cool things. There was a lot of people that were there. I think in our circles, posting lots of pictures, lots of video. It was hard to escape this thing. It was pretty much all over social media. And there was some just really great time. It looked like it was a great time to be had by all. So, but we weren't there. And are we sour about it? No, not really. Maybe a little bit. But before we get into all that, the people that aren't sour.
No, our Patreon members are amazing. Now part of the tribe: Rob, Mike, Lauren, Dante, Risk, Justin, Jackson, Sharkman, Dan, Daz, Isabella, Uncle Leon, Josh, Jacob, Steve, and Rita Reborn. And then, of course, our Delusions of Grandeur members, Rod, CJ, and Alex. Thank you all so much. If you're curious about Patreon, and why wouldn't you be? Because we are up to season 4 on Rebels, our top 3 moments tonight at 10 p.m. Central. So right after this show, we are going to get right to it. So we're going to do our last minute Rebels for season 4 Rebels. I may have forgotten to send the invite out to the guys. Now that I started thinking about it. All right, this will be interesting. We'll do that while we're doing the show, I guess. But you won't want to miss that. Our top 3 moments from the last season of Rebels. It was a doozy. Bring your tissues. It's going to be a good one. And of course, if you are listening to this, we appreciate that. But also, if you'd like to come out and watch the live stream, cantinacast.com/YouTube. And while you're over on the YouTube site, you can actually go check out Lauren's Jedi Novel Archive, which she has a full review of Rise of the Red Blade right now. So something you are definitely going to be able or want to watch because she did an amazing job, and it's an amazing book.
Yeah, that's and it's quite the doozy of a review. Like normally they're not that long, but this I think she clocked in at about 40 minutes because there was just so much to talk about. And you'll do yourself a favor by even if you don't go if you never read the book. I mean, please go read the book. It's worth reading. Even if you don't, go watch Lauren's video because I think she does a really good job of giving you everything you need to know, even if it may not entice you. You'll have walk away with a pretty good understanding of what exactly is going on and why it's relevant to Star Wars. And she always does a good job. So nicely done there, Lauren. Okay, with that, why don't we segue into the news? Now, I said at the very beginning of the show that this was kind of a heavy in terms of like collecting toys, all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff that was announced for Star Wars things. Some stuff that had already been announced, a lot of new things. Where do you want to start? Like, do you want to just get on with the ghost here? And because Rob was the one that I think Rob threw that in the chat. What was it, on Thursday?
Right, yeah. Actually, I've got that coming up after all of the other toys. Like, this is all in order.
Let's save it for that.
I put a lot of thought into how to get these all in order and not screw it up this time.
It's your show. I'm just here for you. Just you tell me where you want to go first.
All right, just let's add me to the stream and let's go.
Hey, look, it's added you to the stream.
Oh, wait.
I forgot about this.
I wanted to
my
sneak this.
goodness.
I wish I could give credit to where this is due, but I forgot to grab whoever did this. But
Yeah.
of course, this past weekend, Barbie and Oppenheimer came out, and someone made a poster for Choppenheimer, which is in so many
Perfect.
ways appropriate and perfect. But also, they just did this amazing poster. I thought we'd show up on screen, and I thought you would get a kick out of it, knowing that you love Chopper to death.
Yeah, I'd seen this. So the one I had seen, I think I might have the original artist, so maybe we credit them in the show notes. But they had taken this one and they pinned it next to the Jarby, which was like Jar Jarby or something like that, which
Right.
is Jar Jar Binks as Barbie, and they had put them together. And I don't know if they came up with a funny name like Barbenheimer or Jar Chopper or whatever they did, but yeah, credit. I mean, this is so. I mean, I sent this to as many people as I could, and just about everybody had a good time with it. So that's well done.
It
Well
is.
done.
All right. So let's get on with the actual vintage collection action figures and stuff. So here we go. We've got, starting off with Sabine with a Lowe's cat. We'll see if we
Okay,
can
so
make
these
this
were
a
all
little bit
announced
bigger.
officially at SDCC, and they've never been shown before, right? This was like
Right.
premiered here. These figures, okay.
Right. Now, what's cool about this one, of course, you get the helmet that's can be taken off with the Lowe's cat, but also you get Ezra's lightsaber. And actually, in the picture I have later on, they actually called it Sabine's lightsaber. So this is kind of like the Luke, Anakin, Skywalker lightsaber versus Rey's lightsaber thing all over again. But I mean, the vintage collection is what it is. These are the 3 3/4 inch figures. We'll just kind of go through some of these relatively quickly because there's so many that got released.
Okay.
And so we've also got Ahsoka, of course, from Ahsoka. So
All right.
that's pretty exciting. Not bad there.
Like that one.
Yeah, Pre Vizsla
wow.
of all characters. This was a little bit of a surprise. I did not expect to see Pre Vizsla come through with the Darksaber.
Okay, that's pretty rad. I might have to get that simply because it looks like the model looks good, and it comes with that little mini Darksaber.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
only the face looked better, but we'll get to that here in a
We're
moment.
here in a little bit. Yeah.
Yep. And then, of course,
No idea who that is. Next
yeah,
slide, please.
little Revan action. But it was cool. You get both the
What?
red and the purple saber.
What version is this supposed to be?
The
Like with his
version you want it to
coat,
be.
his cloak, like or his cape all tattered like that? Huh? Is this some kind of weird? Like there's All right, never mind. Keep going.
It
Next
was,
slide,
yeah.
please. Next
So
slide.
so the title for the card was just Star Wars: The Old Republic. So it didn't give any other background behind that from what I saw.
Okay.
Of course, Grand Admiral
No idea
Thrawn.
who that is. No.
Now, this is Rebels Grand Admiral Thrawn. Just to be specific, this is not Ahsoka Grand Admiral Thrawn. Just whatever that difference actually is. But
And this is still vintage and not wait. So this is vintage
this
and not Black
still
Series, right?
Still vintage, yeah. And you can usually tell from the articulation there's not near as much.
Okay. Yeah,
around the lens.
you're right. Yep. Okay.
Okay, they have an Imperial officer set. If you're into that kind of thing, it seems to be a group. And then we get into some really crazy stuff here. So we've got Chewbacca Life Day. I don't know who in their right mind would want this, but you have it with this with the cloth robe. Some people really get into the cloth goods and everything, right? So he does have the red cloth robe. He has the snow globe or whatever it is in his hand. So you get some of that as well. Now they are coming out with an Ahsoka lightsaber, an FX lightsaber. So for those that really enjoy the lightsabers and maybe only want to spend the $100-ish, not the $200 or $300 or $400 for the more screen accurate ones, this is an option for you. So these are officially Black Series, of course. But again, a pretty good looking lightsaber, one with the longer hilt.
They do a pretty good job with the Black Series, like relics, I guess, or the helmets and all the other stuff. They had Reva's lightsaber at one point and a couple other things. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
bad.
who wouldn't want Ahsoka's lightsaber, especially with the silver blades?
And it's just the one. They don't give you the second one, the smaller one.
The only one
Well, I
that
guess
had
they're
on
both
display
same
was
size.
just the first one, yeah. So I would imagine,
Curious.
the price probably goes up over $200. So yeah, that's my guess. And of course, we do have a new Black Series Ahsoka, again based on the Ahsoka series. So
Okay, yeah.
more like Rosario Dawson here, but again, actually pretty good face painting and things that go on on this figure. So overall, not bad. Again, I'm not always a big fan of the pontoon kind of leggings that she's got going on in the newer outfit, but I think overall the head sculpt on this one is actually quite good compared to what I would argue is not as good on some of the other ones. Mm-hmm. A really good head sculpt here and a lot of good painting going on. So good stuff. Then we get Hera, again, more Black Series. Not bad. Pretty good
Not bad.
overall. Good. I like the jacket actually quite a bit on this one. It's actually very dynamic and that you could get the layers really nicely on this character. So that's a really good one.
She's got like the high waist pants too, like the '80s mom pants, which is kind of cool.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's very much like what she had in the series. They're not as puffy though on the bottom. So
True,
she's
yeah.
the New Republic has now hired tailors, I guess, in their repertoire of outfitting people out here. So And then here we go to the Black Series Sabine Wren, which I got to be honest, like the figure itself, I like a lot, but the facial sculpt, I'm not. It just seems a bit, I don't know, lackluster. Like there's not a lot of detail to it. They get the hair right. I mean, it's nice and purple, of course. The helmet's detachable. A lot of great accessories here, it looks like, and they got the colors and everything else in the armor, but the face is just a little uninspiring compared to maybe Ahsoka and Hera. Maybe there's just more dynamic, maybe there's more dynamic on that space. But
I don't know. I don't like her face sculpture for the Black Series or the vintage one. Like they didn't do a very good job on either one of those. No offense, but I'll just keep the helmet on.
I mean, it's kind of, and it's so hard with Sabine too because she's so cool with the hair. It's like it's the one of the few characters that really has kind of unique features under the helmet. The other ones you're like, oh, the helmet and the armor is the cool part, right?
Yeah.
But like Bo-Katan is the same way because she has a bit of a a headdress with the whatever it is holding her head back, like the headband type thing, and then Sabine with the pink and purples and all the other hair colors. Mm-hmm. So a little disappointing on that one, but I think overall the armor still looks really good. I think they did a good job there. And then here's the one I mean, there's some people are probably going to like the facial sculpt here for the Black Series Pre-Vizsla, but I got to be honest, I'm just not digging it. It just seems really odd to me.
If he didn't have the black saber or the dark saber, and he didn't have like his armor was a different paint, I mean, doesn't look like him.
Right. Yeah. So.
Hey, but who are we?
And I think what I think it is. I think it's the scar. The scar is just so weird and it's so glossy and just it feels like it's painted on and it looks like it's layered on. And to me, I think that just loses its interest there. And then we actually get a new R2-D2. This is from The Mandalorian. So a new R2-D2 from The Mandalorian, which is, I got to be honest, was a little bit surprising. I did not expect to see a R2-D2. And I can't tell if that is a weapon that he is brandishing there on the bottom.
It looks like what do they call them? A sporting blaster. It's like a smaller blaster that's used for
it's like one of the little
sporting.
boop. Yeah, one of the boop type pistols you'd have back in the old days, or they're in the gold rush.
The Scout Troopers had a similar looking, not like that, but just it was a little bit more stout on the barrel and tinier kind of thing.
That almost looks like a 50s ray gun is what it reminds me of.
Sort of, yeah.
All right, let's see. Oh, and then we get to some of the silly ones. There's a lot of holiday ones in here that remind you of like what you would see in a Lego advent calendar.
Yeah.
So here we have I didn't write the names of these down, but these are Black Series. That's the really crazy part. These are Black Series. So we've got a white, fluffy Ewok that looks like he was just recently flocked.
Yep.
With some sort of white porg, but with a really very festive covering here on top of him.
This has Mike Rondo written all over it.
Oh,
in fact,
Mike Rondo is getting all of these holiday figures.
Yeah, I think we use some of the money that we've collected here and ship this to him directly with a big bow on it come December 25th.
Right. And we get a Mandalorian here with an Anzellan, but again,
cute.
his armor has, it looks like a N1 Starfighter and a couple of other ships on there as well.
It looks like a Christmas sweater is what he's wearing.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's supposed to be an ugly Christmas sweater. But again, white and blue armor, kind of weird looking, but I don't know.
How many do you think they printed
these?
Fun. Yeah, because I mean, like I can't imagine them. I mean, these got to be a really small select number, right?
I guess. I mean, I didn't get the context. I wonder if these are. I mean, gosh, these would make more sense as like park exclusives and things like that, or like Shop Disney. Like actual Disney website exclusives rather than in stores. But maybe they're gonna have some fun in the stores, and it's a little bit surprising given that the price tag on these is usually about $25. So
yeah.
They're not cheap.
Rob's in the chat. Rob's usually he's got a pulse on this, no pun intended. He's got usually a pulse. Let us know if you know anything about what these figures run in terms of the print runs, or what do they call those? Not print runs. Build runs, make runs, whatever they call them. How many did they make?
Yeah, Rob did make a comment here about the Chewbacca Life Day is a Shop Disney exclusive, so they celebrate Life Day at Disneyland. So again, maybe that's more park specific, so maybe there's something here with these as well. But Rob's our action figure expert. Mm-hmm. And then we get a Purge Trooper here that is dressed like a Nutcracker, but with his legs playing with the mouse droid like he would on a Christmas morning, but he's dressed up like a Nutcracker. This one's actually kind of like funny, interesting in a weird way.
Yeah, it's about to say the same thing. Like, I don't collect these action figures, honestly, because of, it'd get out of hand pretty quick, but this is like got my humor written all over it.
What's really weird is the blaster. I mean, it's like a white barrel for 2/3 of it, and then you get gold and black alternating. It's very, again, very nutcrackery as well. And then we get a Jawa here in Santa garb with a green, like a very, very green, like Grinch green Kowakian monkey lizard. Again, that looks like he was recently flocked where he had hair anywhere.
We need a gonk droid in that picture for scale, because that Jawa looks like he's about 6 feet tall, holding a 4 foot tall.
Yeah, they have zoomed way
monkey
in.
lizard. Exactly.
And then we get a snow trooper.
Holy bananas! What's going on here?
This one is a whole bunch of I don't even know. It's a snow trooper, but dressed like a snowman with a carrot painted on his. I don't know what the thing is over their face.
Yeah.
The blaster looks like it's straight out of like a Nerf gun. And even I just don't even know about this one. I really don't know what's going on with this figure.
Rob said Black Series Christmas figures are store exclusives just for fun. So if they're store exclusive, I think that kind of answers my question. They don't make a lot of these, and they're for the hardcore, of the collectors out there that have to have everything.
Yeah, but he still says they come into like your Walmarts and Targets. So, but we do have a probe droid that is all white, like literally no color or any kind of color at all on this thing. Again, very strange, but
Pair of scissors sticking out the top there.
yeah. But a red and green scarf to go with his looks like a red and green backpack as well.
Okay.
So again, interesting stuff here. And then we get the KX
goodness,
series.
how many are there?
Dude, I told you, man. There's so many. Anyway,
Right,
so
just keep flipping through these if there's.
and then we get to the
Oh,
good
what is
stuff.
this?
Well, then we
What
get
is
to the
this?
good stuff.
All right.
This is HasLab. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So HasLab, if you are a fan of Hasbro Pulse, if you are a fan of spending hundreds of dollars for really pretty amazing play sets. I mean, these are not just vehicles or anything. They're actual play sets, and they're done with a lot of detail. And of course, HasLab has come out with the Ghost. And I've got a ton of pictures in here. It also comes with a 3 3/4 inch Harrison Dula for $500. Now, earlier today when I went out to the site, for this to go into production, 8,000 people need to sign up for it or actually pay for it. As of as of earlier today, it was right at 7,000. So this thing has picked up almost every signature that it needs in order to get produced. And then I'll talk a little bit here in a few minutes about what some of the other tiers, if it gets to certain milestones above that 8,000, and some bonus stuff that might come with it. But I've got a lot of pictures here. You can kind of see the detail and what goes into these. We've really not featured these on the show before from a collecting standpoint, but these are pretty neat. So anyway, you're kind of for scale. You get the Ghost in the background, but it is 28 inches wide. It is 34.5 inches long, and it's 13 inches tall. So that's from, if you have the feet extended or the landing gear extended to the top of the Phantom 2, which is on the back end, is detachable. And we'll show that here in a minute. But again, it's a fairly large piece here and pretty cool. So again, this is just the ramp bordering down in the front. But here you can see all of the pieces that you can take apart. So you've got the turret on the top comes out. You've got detachable panels all over it, including the front piece. I'll show a little bit better view of that here in a minute. Of course, the Phantom 2 comes off. A lot of great detail on the Phantom as well. So a lot of accessibility. You have full compartments here. So here's the galley, and they have the Hera figure in there for for scale and reference there. But this is the table where they sit at and they eat, around the Jarg table where they go around they have most of their little family meetings and whatnot. Fantastic detail. Then you get all the cabins as well.
Yep.
Again, pretty cool there.
Oh,
and
you
again,
got the bunk beds too. You could see. I think that was Chopper. I'm sorry, Ezra and
yeah, you get Ezra and Zeb's room there, and then on the other side is really, I think that's just Hera's room. To be honest with you, so I didn't see Sabine's anywhere. But in the cockpit, you do have room for four full figures, and they actually paint all the seats different, just like they are in the series. So you get Sabine's is uniquely painted there. But again, lots of room. That whole front piece detaches, so you have easy access to these figures. There's kind of the front view of it. Again, a lot of good detail within the cabin there too.
Yeah.
Like all sorts of like good colors and just good articulation on everything else. And again, the whole front part of the ship is, including the turret down below. So, and that's where she's sitting right now. So the turret, you could actually pop that off on the front. And so you have full access to be able to put a figure in there, and it does accommodate a full figure, and it does move. So pretty neat. Told you place that, man. And here we go.
Phantom.
Phantom 2 on the back has Chopper already plugged in.
Yeah, I wonder if Chopper pops out though. I guess he doesn't, huh?
I don't think so on this one, because I think reasonably you'd have to make the Phantom 2 a lot bigger for that to actually work. or for a Chopper to actually come out in some sort of scale. But again, a lot of good detail on the Phantom. I think I've got one more picture in here. Yeah, there you go, kind of up close. And so the Phantom 2 it only fits one figure in the cockpit, which again, not surprising, but they got a whole figure in the cockpit. It's actually a pretty big deal, along with Chopper. But a lot of good details on this, a lot of good color, a lot of good wear and tear on it. So it's, pretty good representation of what we see in the show.
Wow. So yeah, it's currently at 7,157 backers. So they're just shy of 843 if you're doing the math before they get this thing fully backed and in production. And then these are the tiers, right? Well, this is what here it comes with it, and then we're going to get into the tiers. With it.
And so what's unique about these is that while some of these figures you can get elsewhere, but with these you get this unique card back that is from the mural painting, right? Which is really cool. But what's actually cool about this hair, so it comes with a pistol, of course, but also comes with a Meilu run as for a Meilu fruit, and then also a Kalikori, which is pretty neat.
Yep.
Although I did not see Kanan's little triangle on there, though. No,
I don't see it either.
Unacceptable.
Why would they not do that?
Return to sender, because they have spoiler alerts, I guess. Huh. But yeah, so you were mentioning the tiers though. So if it gets up to 11,000 backers, they have an Ezra Bridger, and Ezra Bridger is pretty cool. You got a couple of lightsabers, one lit, one not. His blaster, you get a Lothcat, and then you also get a Scout Trooper helmet. Now the facial sculpt on this one, you have to tell me what you think about that.
I wonder if they were going for like a more closer to what we see in the movies, maybe. But I mean, it doesn't look like Ezra on the painting that Sabine did, and it doesn't necessarily look like the Ezra from the TV series, which would be very, very easy sculpts. I mean, they already did those, right. And I thought those were pretty screen accurate because they were 2D or three-dimensional animation. So I mean, I guess it's fine.
I think that's the thing to remember is I think these are meant to be in the vein of the vintage collection, which again don't always skew towards the animated series being represented like the animated series.
Yeah.
And so they do tend to make them a bit more like they would be real life counterparts. Ezra, just be honest, Ezra doesn't really look like Ezra in this figure. Mm-hmm. But again, with the accessories, with the white Lothcat, which I think was a nice touch, it is pretty cool. I like that they give you the Scout helmet too. I think the accessories here were really well thought out, I think, to be able to bring this. And again, you really get a cool, the card backs kind of make a mural, and so you could put all the mural together, I guess, or something to that effect.
That Kanan one.
Set to 11,000.
Yeah, but at 14, not the final figures.
Yeah, 14,000. Here you go. You get Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah, and the fact that it comes with his Jedi Knight sculpt, where he's got his hair down and doesn't have the visor on, that's going to be the look that I go for.
Exactly. So accessories, again, he has the pistol. He's got his lightsaber lit and unlit. Like Albert just said, he does have the facial sculpt of both with the ponytail as well as after he cuts it in Jedi Knight, as well as the face shield to cover his eyes when they're damaged. So again, pretty cool at 14,000 backers. And then if this thing gets to tier 3, which is 17,000, Garazeb Aurelios, which is actually, this is the one I would be the most excited to get because this sculpt is actually really pretty interesting. Good. It's a goofy looking face on it, but I think when the mural comes into play, it's actually kind of a cool parallel with them. Like it actually mirrors it pretty well. But you get his staff as well as some accessories for the end of the staff to make it, looks like it's glowing up or has a little electricity there. But really great colors on here. Really great purple. The face sculpt is actually fairly well detailed. Good detail on the feet. Yellow and brownish olive kind of colors on the bodysuit. So again, I think this is actually pretty good for a vintage collection for 3 3/4 size. This is a pretty good detail for this character.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I like that one a lot. All right, so that's the.
So I just as an FYI, so I did get this one, did order it. I know Rob ordered it. I think he ordered 2 of them. So that's a good $1,000 right there. I think all in it was like $600 after shipping and tax. I don't think they've announced when this thing wait, maybe they did.
They will start producing it as soon as they hit 8,000 is what I've heard.
Yeah. So that could be very, very soon. Like I can't see this thing not getting funded within the next day or two, honestly. But we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, there's going to have to be another push if they're going to want to get to these other tiers. But again, you have to see where these legs are. Maybe not everybody at Comic-Con has gone and made their orders for some of this stuff quite yet. But again, pretty cool thing though. I mean, and again, if you were really into this and you had this, let's just be honest, if you got the shelf space, then this is something that's right up your alley. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, they should. There's a video out there on YouTube under I think Hasbro's website or something where the guy brings it out. I mean, he looks like he's holding a full-size manta ray in his hands. Like, I mean, he's got both hands wrapped around this thing and sets it down, and there's a crowd of people around him. He's demoing it. I mean, it's humongous in size. It doesn't. The dimensions are. They kind of really throw you off, right?
Yeah,
you actually see
there
it.
are coffee tables smaller than this thing. So
Yes, yeah, it's massive, 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 massive.
okay, so one of the other cool things that was at San Diego Comic-Con that was not typically there, it wasn't toy oriented, was actually we had some we had a Lucasfilm pavilion that actually had some props and things like that for Ahsoka. So these were actually pretty neat to be able to for people to walk around and see and think and actually not touch them. They're all in cases, but actually be able to see that yes, some of these things are actually pretty real. So we have an Ahsoka maquette here, nothing super exciting, but they actually had the Loth Cat on display, and you could just see. I picked the one that was a little bit closer. We'll have the links out to the official stuff over on StarWars.com for this. But you can actually see the detail on this cat. And again, when you just look, I mean, this thing looks real. It looks like it was just taken from the taxidermy's office.
Right, yeah. Which is just, there's one on every corner down here in Texas.
Right. Again, with the Inquisitors, or Marok, I guess, his lightsaber. I'm presuming it's a him. We also get Ahsoka's
Which,
T6.
that name, by the way, sorry, I was going to say that
good.
name, Marok, was on the display here, I think, from what I heard.
Correct,
So,
it was.
so cat's out of the bag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was on and officially on the website as well. Again, Ahsoka's T6. I also got a picture of the backside because it does have lights that light up. So again,
that's cool.
We've talked about this with Mandalorian. You do have, physical props that are going into some of the stuff. So pretty neat.
Wow.
There's also some other close-ups over on StarWars.com. You can go take a look at this stuff. We do get a picture of Shin Hati or Hati, if you're one of those types of folks that want to call it that. Close-up of her lightsaber. Again, very reminiscent of one Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah, well, there was rumors going around whether or not she was wielding Kanans, and I can't. I don't think it makes sense.
I think his is destroyed anyway, right? So
Well, no, because it's handed over to Thrawn at one point. So remember when it falls off, and then Price, I think, has it, or someone else gives it to Thrawn. So, and then I think that's where it kind of the trail ends, at least for his lightsaber.
okay. Oh, we get Balin Skulls here. This one's wicked
That's cool.
looking.
Yeah,
very worn, very old school, very old, kind of old Republic inspired a bit here. Mm-hmm. And of course, we have Sabine's lightsaber, not Ezra's, but Sabine's lightsaber, right? So a couple close-ups there, very inspired by a number of lightsabers you can see in there, including Luke Skywalker's and Obi-Wan Kenobi's.
Mm-hmm. It's like a mix.
Yeah, and then we get a couple close-ups here of Sabine Wren's helmet. A little bit better one here with the light kind of showing right on you. You lose some of the detail at the top, but on the crown, but still very cool helmet. You get very much the female Mandalorian helmet style, but very much being captured just like we've seen with Bo-Katan, and again a new paint job there. A little less vibrant than maybe we're used to for Sabine, so it'd be interesting to see how that all plays into the story aspect of it too.
It's the one that she has in the epilogue of season 4.
Right. Yep. And then, of course, we get Ahsoka's twin lightsabers here. And again, this is a really good job of seeing the scale between them, that they are not the same size. Like, one is very much a shorter blade, a shorter hilt, but also a shorter blade that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the longer hilt here, which is actually a little bit longer than usually most lightsabers are. So
Very
cool.
Japanese style looking. Shotos and all that stuff.
Right, yeah, they have that gentle curve to them. Yeah, very cool. Nothing near as severe as like what Count Dooku had. And of course, here's your boy.
Wow.
Like in his murdering form, but you can see Chopper, and I've got one more here up close. Even that little plate on the front, while it's not hanging off like it usually is, I guess they've maybe fixed that now.
Okay, yeah. It's usually on crooked or just barely hanging on.
Right, but again, anytime you could see, I mean, droids translate pretty well, at least these types of droids, so it'd be interesting to see how he wiggles and everything else to see how well it works, but pretty cool to be able to see him in person, though. All right.
Yeah, they always do a good job with
we got the Ahsoka costume, and then I think the one that everybody really wants to see is the mural. So they actually have it here in 3 pieces, and I've got some close-ups of it as well, or a close-up of it at least.
Yeah,
so
I
again,
saw pictures galore of people taking pictures in front of this thing at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, that was the neat thing. Like, you could walk, I mean, this was an exhibit, right? You could walk around, you could see it's roped off there in the front, and you could walk right up to it and have a lot of pictures taken with everything's there, right? The Loth Wolves, the Loth Cats, all of the similar artwork to what we saw in the series has been recreated, which is pretty neat.
They did the same thing for Mando season 3 when we were at Celebration last year. You remember that? There was it was kind of like you had to get in line and
but you had to have
exhibit.
You had to actually be able to get into it though, which was the hard part.
Right.
So
the same kind of thing where they brought in the props, and that's actually used in the TV series.
Right, but this is so cool because it's actually a part of the stone. Like it actually feels like the set, right? I mean, maybe it was, but I mean, it's really cool. You got that aspect of it. So that was in the pavilion. There was also some Ahsoka concept art that leaked out as well, and so none of this is spoilerish in any kind of way. But I thought we'd just flip through these. Not a lot of analysis maybe to do. We're a bit short on time. But again, we get Ahsoka here, or presumably Ahsoka on this planet where all of the stones are at, where they're doing the summering with the map. Morgan Elspeth, you get the pinks and the purples and blues here. Pretty cool. This looks like it's going to be Thrawn's flagship. Lots of gold here, and again, there's a lot of things going out there about maybe some gold trim stormtroopers or whatnot. But we'll see what exactly that translates out to being and what that means. But again, very very ostentatious for Thrawn, which I don't know how I feel about this yet. But I want to hear the story first before we get too far into this about what all of this like really loudness means for this character right now. And it may not even be him; he was just inheriting it. Here we go, Ahsoka using the Force. Looks like in the temple that we've seen a few times towards the beginning of the first trailer we got, or the first teaser.
Yeah, I would say all this artwork looks like it's all pulled from the stuff that we've seen in the trailers. Even this is the room where Sabine's at.
Right. It's a lot of Sabine's artwork on the outside of the room, as expected, like her workshop area. And then, of course, here's a few of the shipyards or whatever it is that is going on here with Ahsoka and the Inquisitor. We've seen this a few times. I think Hera is also here as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they've got a couple here, and again, you do see some humans, but
that looks like the room that they were in too, at the very top there, that bridge area. Looking
right, yeah, that's the one they blast their way out of. Right. So again, there's a lot more out there. These were the only ones that had big enough pictures of to be able to share. But again, you can find these relatively easily if you'd like to go out there and look for them. I will not link them because that tends to link towards where a lot of spoilers and things like that are out. So I don't want to do that for y'all. But all you have to do is Google Ahsoka concept art. But again, like you said, I think a lot of this stuff is going to show up at the end of the series after every episode. So these are all going to come out over time anyway. But again, no spoilers in any of the stuff that I've seen. But again, it's always interesting to see the artwork behind the show.
Yep, good stuff.
Yeah, so again, Lucasfilm publishing panel making a big to-do. Yeah, I made a big to-do about all of that, but again, it kind of ends up being the same. I'm trying not to be too negative about this, but there's a certain amount of disappointment I have about the Lucasfilm publishing panels is that I think all of the writers are so excited to be there, and they are so excited to really convey their excitement and tell people about it, but they are so gun-shy to say anything of substance that we get almost nothing every single time. And Michael Siglain is usually there. He's usually the one moderating. And I don't know if that's the thing or not, but we got a lot of cover reveals. So we'll step through the cover reveals real quick because I think some of these are pretty neat, especially one or two of the book reviews or book reveals. Pretty neat. So I didn't get everything, but these are the ones from StarWars.com. They have a kind of a top 10 type of things. And I actually kind of agreed with them. So we'll just step through these really fast. So again, Shadows of Starlight. This is episode 2, The High Republic. A really cool cover of not Stellan Geos, of faux pas there.
Stellan Geos is in there. You just got to look further into the water. He's somewhere down there.
Somewhere there, decaying, yeah. But no, we have Elzar Mann here with his lightsaber lit. Again, kind of cool. And for those who maybe don't remember, Shadows of Starlight is a series written by Charles Soule. And this is where he was going to fill in some of the story that happened between the Fall of Starlight and where we pick up in Phase 3 about 1 year.
1 year worth of stories, yeah?
Right, yeah, over a handful of issues here.
So this looks like it's just like right afterwards. I mean, he's standing that, to me, that looks like the pieces of Starlight Beacon.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Kevin Scott is picking up the main The High Republic series. So, again, it's picking up with Keeve Trennis. And, again, we've got Keeve Trennis here. We've got Sarek or Tarek, don't know which one. And then you actually have a Lorna D right there with them, which is quite interesting.
Man, I told you that at some point she may come around. They kind of hinted at that. I'm not going to go all crazy here.
It was the whole point of releasing her book Tempest Runner, right?
Yeah, the audio now. It was like they put that doubt in your mind, like holy crap, like she could conceivably come over or be turned in some way, which I think it's just radical to think about. But excited. I can't wait.
So we'll see what that looks like. Now, here's a really interesting one. Issue 2 has a new character, a new antagonist from the Nihil, but also with the Nameless right behind him. So again,
Maybe he's like the
curious.
handler or something for those things.
I don't know. Very interesting character. He's got something in his hand that he's holding, but you can't really tell what it is. But a very, very cool cover here.
Looks like a leash.
Yeah. And of course, Danny Jose Older is coming back for the High Republic
Oh,
Adventures. And I got to be honest, man, I just love what Dark Horse is doing with these covers on the High Republic Adventures. So we get a more grown up Court and Zine here. Of course, Zine is a fan favorite. Court is too.
Yeah.
And these covers are just so beautiful. I mean, Harvey Talabau is just knocking out of the park with these. But a really cool cover with a really cool helmet in the background. Look at that.
It's Magneto.
It does look like Magneto, doesn't it? It's very inspired. But
I
again,
can't. Court, like, without his skull mask, like his character's come such a long way from when he was first introduced.
it really does. We got
is
another
awesome.
one here from issue 2.
Oh, cool.
Again, both
Yeah.
of them. So again, you're going to see them front and center here with Zine and Court. So continue
Dang, look
that
at the
adventure.
detail on the coloring on the cover, though. That's crazy.
Oh, it's beautiful. They're like on the water here, and they've got lots of lights and almost like casino-like lights of sorts, like around them. So, but like
Wow.
a very vibrant canal and system around them here. So pretty neat. But again, these High Republic covers, the Adventures covers from Dark Horse, have actually been really good and very vibrant. I really love what they've been doing with them.
Yeah.
So our first book here is from Daniel Jose Older and Alyssa Wong, Escape from Valo, and we get a cover with our Jam Ramaman on there. I'm going to say that wrong. Jam Ramaram Ramanamam. How do you pronounce his last name?
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is the middle grade novel. So this is for the younger of the readers. We have 3 brand new characters here on the front of the cover, I believe. Again, they've got some Nihil stuff all around them here, but again, not a whole lot of context around what's going on. But it's cool to see Rob in there. He's always a great read.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really excited that the reason why I'm really excited about this book is because DJO, but also him and Alyssa Wong. And Alyssa Wong, for those maybe less familiar, she writes the Dr. Aphra series. And she's written a bunch of other stuff too, but she writes Dr. Aphra so well. I'm really excited to see her to come into the High Republic.
Yeah. I like the fact that they've got Ram in this kind of position where he's, like he was set up as being, not the most proficient in lightsabers and using the Force. He uses Force in different ways. He was more the tech head, and he's just been kind of forced into this position of, leading and being a, quote, warrior. So pretty exciting to see. I hope that continues on. Like he's able to kind of do both and learns to grow into more of a traditional Jedi role rather than kind of hanging back and, not wanting to be in the front lines kind of thing.
And it's going to be really interesting how much these characters have grown up in this year since Starlight. It doesn't seem like that long, but when you're this age, you really do come of age very quickly.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I'm really curious to see how these covers do. But the cover that's getting the most buzz, Albert, and I got to be honest with him, I'm all about it, is Defy the Storm, Tessa Groton and Justina Ireland. And oh my gosh, you get a little bit more grown-up Vernestra Rowe here. You get Jordana Sparkburn, and then Anavin Staros as well, front and center with a whole slew of Nihil people all around. So there's some things going to a little
Why is
troublesome.
she dressed like that, though? That's
Who?
wasn't that Vanessa Rowe there?
Yeah, and she's more like in smuggler attire of sorts.
Yeah, like she's not the same looking. I don't know. I
A little different.
Yeah.
Well, and then even Jordana Sparkburn looks like she's in the Imperial Navy of sorts all of a sudden.
right.
So again, but man, you just talk about a really killer cover though, so to speak. And so this is young adult. This is again the young adult that's coming at her pretty soon. But man, this is a cover. I think if you're into these books, you've got to go grab this cover. There's a lot going on, as Steph just pointed out, but I think this is one of those really cool covers you got to go grab.
Yeah, Phase 3 looks exciting, as we kind of knew it would be. But
Oh yeah, we're all excited to go back. And one of the cool things is you get the High Republic visual guide that's coming out. So
Finally.
they had a few pages here. We won't dwell too much on it because I think some of the arts that we've seen here, but also you get a lot of great backstory. I know you're a huge fan of all these books. We got Lena So here, and all are talking about her great works, her personal life, what the Nihil is. So a lot of great things there. Get a full spread here on the Drengir.
Mm-hmm.
And even long lost Stellan Gius. No Jedi is ever alone. We are united in the Force, Albert.
Right. Yeah, there's. I think this went up for pre-order already. I could have sworn I pre-ordered this at some point. So I think you can get it already, but or at least pre-order it. But
yeah, this has been announced. This was announced a while back, but again, kind of cool to see some of the first art.
Yeah, the layout looks great. I love it. It's very clean. It's exactly what I would expect to have from a kind of an encyclopedia type, reference book. But they don't ever hide anything. There's never any like big reveals in these books. Sometimes there's tiny little things that you can kind of infer, tie two things together that maybe were a bit more ambiguous at times. But for the most part, it's pretty much a good way to just summarize the characters and kind of give you the nuts and bolts of what you need to know about what happened and who's who and that sort of thing. So great stuff.
I got a whole lot of comic images here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I know not everybody is into the comics, but again, some of these were really kind of cool if you're especially into the dark droid stuff that's coming up, and we're getting into the season where some of the horror inspired stuff from Kevin Scott.
Just get to the Lobot cover.
He's going crazy. Oh, actually, I got to point one thing out here. I know it's really tough to see here in the middle, but it's talking about droids.
No.
And Lando. And
yeah, but is she going to be...
I don't know.
Is she going to come over too?
No, this is just a panel. It's just a panel, but it's just describing that droids can be lovers to organics.
I thought you were going to tell me that L337 was suddenly... All right.
No, but again, it's just kind of crazy stuff. I know it's if you have a smaller screen, it's not really doing it. Here's D-droids or whatever it is. So R2 and Chopper apparently arguing or something, and maybe a maintenance droid gets in the way of them. And then here we go, Tales from the Death Star. And this is the stuff that's going to get wild, man. So every Halloween time, Kevin Scott does more of a horror-inspired, comic series, Tales from Vader's Castle, all of that kind of stuff. Well, this one is like really insane. Like this page right here is just, I may go pick this up. I don't always pick these up, but man, this is really, really, really wild. This is like sorcery type stuff going on. So this is pretty neat. Not going to lie. We got some zombie looking action going on here.
Don't even know. A lot of people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't even know what's going on here. Yeah,
there are a lot of people that are kind of bent out of shape about this stuff, and I'm thinking, I guess you didn't grow up with the Star Wars comics like of the the 80s, and this is. I mean, I think we talked about this before, that this is exactly what it is. I mean, it's kind of a nod to that stuff because Kevin Scott, like a lot of us, grew up on those comics, and so. They still do it within the realm, I think, for the most part of possibility, but does it get outside there and stretch out into the borders of kind of odd? But yeah, it's freaking Halloween. It's a holiday. Loosen up. I mean, lighten up.
If you're a fan of the Simpsons Halloween special and the Halloween or Simpsons Something of Terror, what is it? What's it called?
Oh, I don't remember. But yeah,
I can't remember. But if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, like this, man, I'm sorry. Halloween, even Thanksgiving to an extent, but then Christmas, you just expect holiday-oriented, inspired material that is not canon. It's just supposed to be fun and interesting and different ways of thinking, and it's meant to just get you into the season. And Kevin Scott loves this stuff, and I'm sure he's going to do an amazing job. And I love the artwork. I mean, it is really intense. It's really cool.
Yep.
Now, here's a book I did not expect, and I don't really know if we need, is The Dawn of Rebellion, The Visual Guide. So by Pablo Hidalgo and Emily Shikukani. I probably butchered that. My apologies if I did. So... but again, yeah, it's got Diego Luna and Ewan McGregor here. Of course, Cassian Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi with an X-Wing. Kind of a cool cover, but I don't know if we need a Rebellion visual guide. But we're getting one anyway. That's faux show. But again, some cool things that we don't have before. So Fortress Inquisitorius. Full spread here. All right, that's not so bad, right? House Organa. So we get a lot of more details around each of the Organas here.
Okay, I see what they did. No, I don't mind this. This is because there's a gap, right? Like when you look at all the visual guides we have, or the what do you call them? The visual guides.
And all that. Yep.
No, that's the visual guides, right? When you look at those, we do have a gap there with all the television that's come out. And so I see what they've done. They've kind of combined a lot of the content that's been released from the Bad Batch, the Kenobi series, kind of one book to kind of rule them all for that period. We kind of need it. We don't have a lot of that stuff. So this is going to get added to my collection just to make sure I don't have a gap here.
Yeah, and like you said, we've got Bad Batch, we've got Dr. Hemlock here, so and even have a crosshair sighting here, but also we have a name for the dejected clone trooper from Obi-Wan Kenobi with Nax. Mm-hmm. So of course that's getting a lot of energy. So they gave him a little bit of a backstory. So if you like that kind of thing, this is where you get all of those.
Yep.
This is where you usually get the genesis of a lot of those stories. And even a little bit more on Vice Admiral Rampart as well.
Yep. And
that's the end of today's visual presentation.
Okay. So like we said, lot of stuff coming out from Disney Publishing, not a lot of content in terms of, or a lot of backstory, I guess, or, big revelations when it came to the books and stuff for phase 3. But we've talked about this before too. Probably not the place to do it, and they can't say too much. I mean, I'd love for them to just even tease stuff, but they really don't say much of anything. I think they just allow the covers to kind of speak for themselves. And for the most part, I think it works because honestly, if you go look at Twitter, Threads, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you are, these pictures are being posted everywhere. Everybody's talking about them, and we're all speculating on what this means, what that means, and that's generating buzz. It's generating likes and clicks. And so from that perspective, I think, there's probably no harm in doing it, but I do miss the days when we actually had panels and, questions were asked and the writers would, kind of get in the heads. And unfortunately, a lot of that happens now after the book's released, either in interviews, follow-up stuff, and not at the panels themselves. So it's just maybe different now, I guess.
Right. Yeah. And again, there's a lot of other things out there too. So Star Wars Outlaws did have a presence at San Diego Comic-Con as well. I'll have a link out to the video. There was a behind the scenes with the developers. Mm-hmm. To me, there wasn't a lot new in there. It was a lot of the same type of discussion, but if that's your interest, I'll have that linked out there. You can go watch that. We did get some confirmation that the speeder bike that you see in the trailer or in the walkthrough that was in the developer walkthrough that came out back when they first announced the game, there will be some personalization to the speeder bike. So that's kind of cool. And it was actually, I think the interesting part was that usually those are, they're mirrored off of, a Harley Davidson or motorcycle or something really crazy, but they actually modeled that one after motocross. So when you think about motocross and some of the ways you can jump and you can do the different things, I think you see some of those elements actually come through if you go back and rewatch the trailer and some of the walkthrough material that we had before. So that is kind of interesting, but it's about, I think it's only 6 or 8 minutes. It wasn't super long, but they did a couple different ones of those. So if you're into Outlaws, please go out there and go search for those. I'll link the one that I was watching. Actually, I think I had 2 that I had, so I'll go link both of those in the show notes so that you can go out there and enjoy those at your leisure. So we had some other news that we'll probably just kind of boot those to next week. I think they're kind of prevalent. Some of these are evolving, a little bit of writer strike and actor strike stuff. So we'll come back around to those, but we'll kind of leave these at the San Diego level.
Yeah. No, good stuff. I think that's kind of what we wanted to get through, at least at the front here. Yeah. Overall, I think it was a pretty good San Diego Comic-Con. Even, if you follow some of the other IPs that are not Star Wars related, there was all kinds of great reveals and more toys and all kinds of exclusive books and exclusive giveaways, stuff like that. So pretty fun stuff. I'm happy that I got to see some of my mutuals be there, and it looks like they had a really good time. So now that it's behind us, it's time, man. It's like, let's get on with Ahsoka. Let's get on with this. Where we at? Let's see. Let's get the final. I was going to hit refresh.
We're exactly 1 month away here.
Well, yeah. I'm more concerned about this backing. So we're at 7,181 backers since. So that's gone up like almost 60 backers, and I think 5 of them were probably from our show. So 60.
It went up 24.
No, I meant from before.
Okay.
When I first came on, like before we came on the air, it was at 7,124.
Okay.
So in 45 minutes, it's gone up like another 60 or so.
Yeah, so they're trickling, they're trickling in, and this thing's just going to grow. So I think it's going to hit that 8,000 without a problem.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be a matter of how much legs. So I think the cutoff is September 26th, if I recall. So if you are interested
September 6th.
September 6th.
Yep, September 6th at 11:59 p.m.
All right, so there you go. You have a little over a month to go out there if you need to kind of rearrange some finances for the next 30 plus days. You have some time.
Take out a small loan.
Yeah, second mortgage on the home, whatever it costs.
Bone marrow, blood donate blood, whatever you.
Hey, it's still cheaper and smaller than the Cat's Lair for Thundercats from Super 7.
Yeah, my goodness.
That thing is massive.
That's cool, but yeah, I'm not going to buy that one. I'm sorry, Super 7.
Well, you know who's really cool, Albert, are the people who come up to the live stream. Yeah, our live stream listeners and viewers. So Jonathan, 80s Kid, Rob, Sky, Lego Cat 3000, Steph, Hard Counter, and Jorge and Dale. Thank you all so much for the energy in the chat. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. We appreciate everything you all bring to the show. We hope you enjoyed this San Diego Comic-Con 2023 recap.
Yeah. All right. And for those of you staying on with us, we are going to head over at the top of the hour into our Patreon exclusive. We're going to talk about our top 3 moments from the final season of Star Wars Rebels, which has been very difficult to narrow down to just 3. There's so many good moments in that season. We're going to talk about our top 3 moments, and I'm going to spring the question of, I'm going to make everybody rank the seasons, which I kind of hinted I would do. So hopefully you guys will have some thoughts around that. I don't know if Jonesy got the link out, so it may just be Jonesy and I. We'll see. So
I did get it out while we were in the show tonight, so we'll see if they're able to come.
Okay, good. So we'll
My
have other.
sincerest apologies. I have been so distracted today. It's not been funny.
It's all good. You're good. You're good. But yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation, a very difficult conversation at times for me personally, but I promise I will pull through, keep it together, and get us through that in about 2 hours or less. So, Jonesy, any final words before we get out of here?
Nope. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys at the From a Certain Point of View, top 3 moments of season 4 of Star Wars Rebels.
You're still listening? Wow, that's amazing. Well, I'm here to give you the disclaimer. Normally we do a big, long, drawn-out disclaimer thing saying what's what and who's what and all that other stuff, but I think you guys kind of know that Lucasfilm and Disney have no affiliation with us at all, and we have none with them. We talk about Star Wars, which is their property and all that other good, fun stuff, but I think you can tell which is our stuff and which is their stuff. If you can't, well, then send a lawyer to send an email to me, and I'll be glad to chat with them. Other than that, you know what's what, so that's your disclaimer.